at Barcelona. And with that said, I think we can go to the next topic, man. And can you take the lead on that for me, please?
The next topic is a more sensitive one. It's the issue of Emiliano Sala. Cardiff have announced that they are going to sue Nantes for damages over the
Mm-hmm.
situation. So, just for context, Emiliano Sala was an Argentinian footballer who was signed by Cardiff City for Nantes in the 2018-19 season. He was playing at Nantes in League One and he signed for
Yeah.
Cardiff. And then tragically, when after he signed for Cardiff and they took all the pictures, he went back to Nantes in France to say goodbye to the teammates. And then when he was on the flight back, unfortunately, that plane got lost over the English Channel, and then a search party was called, and eventually his body was found and he was dead. So, after that, what happened, after all the mourning was done, Cardiff didn't want to pay the first installment, which was 5.3 million. I'm not sure if it was euros or pounds. And then the case
Yeah.
was taken to FIFA, and then FIFA ruled in favor of Nantes, saying Cardiff must pay this money. And then Cardiff then went to the Court of Arbitration for Sport, and the Court of Arbitration for Sport said, okay, no, you guys have to still pay this 5.3 million. So then Cardiff went to the Swiss Federal Court in Switzerland. I know I'm repeating. And then even they rejected it. So now what's happening is they want to now sue Nantes for damages ranging from about anything from about 20 million to 200 million euros for damages. So
Okay.
that's the situation at present. And for a while, I've always felt that what Cardiff are doing is scummy because their counter
Uh,
argument of not wanting to pay the first installment was that Emiliano Sala wasn't registered. Yes, he signed, but he wasn't officially
yeah.
registered. That's some of the counter arguments they've said. But guys, you've lost the case at FIFA, you've lost the case at CAS. Even the Swiss
Mm,
Federal Court has told you guys to just get out of here. So I feel this is just a waste of time. Initially, my thoughts were that what Cardiff are doing is scammy. They should just pay the money. And then there's the other side of me that's starting to think that they're seeing it as more of a thing where, look, yes, we agreed with this asset, but 15 million, we don't want to just pay
it's
it
a
for an
ridiculous
asset.
amount of money, man.
That's
It's
not.
honestly yeah, man. Like I won't even lie, especially for a player that didn't sign. I kind of feel a little bit of sympathy for Cardiff, but at the end of the day, they signed Emilio Sala signed a legally binding agreement with the club, So yeah, man, that's Cardiff's that was a Cardiff mistake at the end of the day. You can't do anything about it. So yeah, that's just my opinion on it. But I want you to continue on what you were just saying. My bad. So sorry for cutting in on that.
No, like, hi, TB. Now you're making me lose my tracks of thoughts. So I think
My
that
bad. My
it's
bad.
similar to what you said that Cardiff were like, we've paid 15 million. We don't want to pay this money for an asset
Mm,
that we never got to use. It's very tragic what happened, but we can't be paying money for an asset we got to use. And I think that's their thinking with this situation. It's
yeah.
also been reported that they want to sue Nantes for damages because when Emiliano Sala was transferred to Cardiff, there was a lot of shady dealings with the agents involved. And those agents are Willie McKay, who was the agent who was trying to broker the deal along with his son Mark McKay. There was also David Henderson, who organized the flight, and then David Ibbotson, who was the pilot. I'm not sure if it was David or Stephen, but I know the surname was Ibbotson. He was the pilot that flew the plane, and there was a lot of shady dealings about how the transfer happened because that plane that Salah traveled on, it was a plane that wasn't fit for purpose. Even he felt that, okay, I'm a bit scared. I don't like this plane. It's falling to pieces. The
Mm.
pilot himself, it's reported that he was colorblind and that he had a pilot license that had expired and it was a while before he flew. So there was a lot of shady dealings with that. You also have another report that Cardiff actually offered their own transportation to get him back to Cardiff after he said goodbye to the Nantes squad, but Emiliano Sala refused because he'd already organized everything with David Henderson. So currently, David Henderson, because of that situation, was in jail for 18 months. That was recorded around 2021 or early 2022. And then Cardiff are also, aside from Nantes, suing Nantes, they also want to sue the agents involved in that, the aforementioned Willie Mackay and Mark
Mm.
McKay. So I think this is just a messy situation. They've also mentioned in their statement that they are supporting the family and that they want this whole thing to just blow over and go away. And that it's more than just a money thing about it. That even if they had money to throw away, they still wouldn't pay the money. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, I don't think they'll win this case for damages because if so many people are kicking you out, what's the likelihood that a civil court will agree with you guys? So I think they should have just paid this money, bit the bullet, and moved on because the 15 million fee, like, look, you're a Premier League club, you guys get a lot of good money, boo hoo.
Yeah.
And also, it's not 15 million once off, it's in installments. And even when you
Mm.
get relegated as a Premier League club, you get parachute payments. So I think the way they've behaved, even though you can understand it to some extent, it's it's basically very shitty behavior how they've acted. And this thing is just gonna drag and drag and drag without any conclusion. And it's
That's a
just a
fact.
mess. So that's pretty much it on my end. What do you think?
Man, honestly, I think what you just mentioned now, I'm kind of changing my opinion on how I feel on the matter a little bit. Especially with I had a little bit of sympathy for Cardiff, but now I'm just like, yeah, no, I agree with you, man. I think they should have paid the 15 million and called it a day because now they've just made it drag and I mean making it drag it just costs you even more money because you're paying probably top class lawyers a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And it's not cheap to have that type of legal representation. And also, they're currently in the championship and they're sitting about, I think they're sitting 3 points just above the relegation spots. So maybe Cardiff was looking at it like this, you know, because of this Emiliano Sala, because of this incident, it's really messed up our club. We've got relegated. We've lost a lot of money, so we weren't able to stay competitive. Yeah, I get the parachute payments, but you also got to use that parachute payments to pay off players that were on Premier League wages, to pay other expenses as well. So it's a big financial strain still, even though you getting these parachute payments. And you gotta think about it this way, man. They got relegated, and now we about four years later, and they just sitting about just a little bit above the relegation zone in the championship. So they could always go down again all the way to League One. So that's the way they might be looking at it. But I think it would have been more beneficial for them to just pay the 50 million and call it a day, because now they've had this 3-year transfer embargo or more. I don't know how long it was that FIFA imposed on them because of this deal. And I think they weren't allowed to buy players for so many number of years. So it's hard to stay competitive when you can't strengthen the squad at the end of the day. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I feel 50-50 about it. I don't really know how, if I should be on Cardiff's side or if I should be on Nantes' side, but I feel 50-50 about it. But I think the compensation fee that they're asking for is just absolutely ridiculous. 200 million, more than 200 million is ridiculous. I thought the first reports that was coming out was that they were seeking for 80 million, and now that's just risen even more. And I don't think they'll win the court case. I think they'll lose it. Yeah.
It's a range. The range is 20 to 200 million. So there's no set number. The 20 million is to cover the losses from the amount they'd have to pay for the Emiliano Sala transfer, because there's some amounts that are written in euros. When you see some of the reporting, some of the amounts are written in euros and some are in pounds. So they wanted to be the amount that covers Emiliano Sala's transfer and some of the legal damages, because they are not just coming after Nantes. They are coming after the agents that were involved in this deal. So this is going to get very messy, because David Henderson is going to be out of jail. It should be later this year. So this could get messy. Mark McKay and Willie McKay are not in jail, so they'll also be attacked legally. So this is just going to be messy and just drag on. But I think this is just there was a journalist named David Kahn that, I don't know if I'm quoting it directly or if I'm paraphrasing, but he described this Emiliano Sala issue as a very bad reflection on football, because ultimately Emiliano Sala, this transfer was used to make some agents some money, and that's what it was about. And all the while he's passed away, and people and clubs are still arguing over this transfer, and the family are over in Argentina watching two clubs bicker about a transfer over their son or brother. So I think it's just a very sad situation overall, and it's not a good reflection on the game. It means that players are treated as commodities, and it just emphasizes to me that football is morally bankrupt.
Yeah, no, that's for sure, man. I can definitely agree with you on that.